Hey, Ty Brady here with Brady Insurance Marketing in the Ty Brady Way, one of the nation's largest field marketing organizations that helps independent agents achieve a 6- and 7-figure income with the systems and strategies that I'm going to talk about with you today.
Many of you know that I started my first career, my first 10-year career in construction. So let's rewind for just a second. And I graduated with a bachelor's degree in applied science in industrial design. So I started out my career designing homes for a local home builder / general contractor. And after about a year, I became a superintendent where I was in charge of managing the subcontractors in building these homes. Then about, 8 months after that, they're like, man, this kid's got some skills. Which by the way, I knew nothing about construction. I knew a lot about construction, but I'd never managed the side of it. Like my dad, growing up as a kid, always had a side job, whether it was building somebody's deck, plumbing, drywall. And my dad was, back in the late 80s, he used to build houses. And he's like, man, interest rates were so high and you're making $1,000 on a house. My dad was teaching school and building houses on the side. And he's like, it was just too much. When you're making $1,000 a house, he's like, it just didn't pay the bills with the amount of effort you put in. But my dad was always doing something. And so I had a knowledge of what construction was, but not necessarily the management side of it. So I started managing houses, and my bonuses were based on getting the house completed. There's a lot of upfront cost that a home builder will have in building a home. The carry cost is expensive, closing costs on loans. And so it was always tied to an incentive. Can you build this house in 90 days? And that's what it started out. If I got from start A to start B in those 90 days, then there was a bonus associated, which is where I made a good chunk of my money. So things were mapped out, I learned a few things. First of all, the subs there's a relationship business, and I would always make sure that my schedule was accurate. Why? Because time is money. It's money to them. It's money to me. And if there was a delay in the schedule and they show up, it's not ready, they just wasted 4 hours of their time. Their profitability just goes down. So I had to make sure that when I was laying out my schedule and managing these subs, because it would be bam, 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 and there was never a delay in between the house except for weekends, but I had to make sure that was managed tightly. But I also had to help them, this is what's important, understand the vision. And here's the thing, here's how it all works, right? The cash register never rang until the house closed. So the sooner we got it done, the sooner people could move in and that cash register rang, right? And it's all about cash flow to these young, especially some of these startups. I mean, I remember having a guy come and paint a house, and he was living paycheck to paycheck as he was starting his business. Or a sub that says, hey, I'm going to go out on my own and be an electrician, and it was paycheck to paycheck. And oftentimes the contracts we'd have them sign, they were a 90-day pay. So you did the work today, you're not going to see a check for 90 days. So you've got to float that, your employees, your payroll, all of those things. It's stressful. So I got really, really good at completing those houses on time. I've missed very few bonuses. So what I said is, I wonder if I can do this faster. And believe it or not, I've built, I helped build 2,000 to 3,000 homes, develop 1,000 to 1,200 lots, and then I did a bunch of light commercial stuff that I was in charge of. But the fastest house I ever built, I built it in 28 working days from start to finish. And everyone's like, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. But what I'm telling you, you can do it. But what I had the trust of the subs, and they wanted me to achieve that goal just as much as they wanted to. And it was amazing. I had subs working late. I had subs working through the night. And back in the day, I don't know, what was that show called? There was a show that they would renovate a house in like a week. And the guy's name was Ty Pennington, I think was the guy. And everyone's like, man, you're the Ty Pennington of this home builder. And I'm like, no, I was not trying to inspire to be like him, but it was fun to watch that everybody rallied around me and the vision that I sold. But what I started with is saying, hey, I got a crazy idea. right? It always starts with a crazy idea, but then how are you going to get there? So the crazy idea is number one. Number two is that I had to have everybody buy in. They had to buy in, and they're like, why do you want to do this? I just want to be like, because I want to be able to say I did, right? And I'm sure people have exceeded that goal or build it faster than me, and that's okay. But that was my task. I went from 90 days to 28 days. That's amazing in my opinion. And, the quality didn't suffer. What it was, I just had everybody buy in, and they hustled for me. So they had the vision, crazy idea, and then I had to sell the vision. And then what was the reward? It was the reward to say that they participated in building a house in 28 days. Because that's significant, because they'd never seen it done before. I mean, we had concrete that cured in 24 hours. Typically, there was a waiting period from the concrete drying. It costs a little bit more money, but I mean, you'd had to wait 7 to 10 days before you could backfill the house. There were parameters that we had to follow. And then we had to, not only that, but there was so many moving parts. I mean, you're going to have anywhere from 18 to 20 different subcontractors on a house, and you've got to coordinate all those schedules. And you've got to sometimes coordinate between who did this, who did that, how do we fix this, how do we fix that, and then the blame game, right? Here's the deal. The blame game is like, listen, it's messed up, let's just get it fixed, right? That was the mentality that I went by. I get it that it's not, the light switch is on the wrong side of the door and it's going to cost money and all those things. But to sit here and bicker and complain about it for an hour, it didn't serve the purpose at the end. To build that house in 28 days was significant. I know it was a record for that home builder that I worked for. I know that those subs to this day can look back as they drive past that house and realize, hey, we did that. I mean, I've been out of the industry now, 12 years? No longer than that. It's been since 2008, when I was forced out. But I still drive by communities that I helped build. And that's the American dream, to get into a house. So I had to sell that vision each and every day to those subcontractors, but I had to make sure I was on top of it. I believe that as you sell the vision and you get the buy-in from the people that you work with, whether they're a direct employee, whether they are a subcontractor, that they have your best interests at heart. Now, you have to communicate on what you're trying to achieve. And then you have to be able to trust and inspire, which I learned at this leadership conference I just went to. Trust and inspire their know-how. They're the expert. And sit back and watch them excel. They want to perform. Think about it. If you have kids or you have employees or if you run a business, those employees want to see you excel. They want you to achieve your goals. They know that if the house isn't completed, that they're not going to get a paycheck. I don't think you have to tell them, hey, you don't get this done today, you're not going to get a paycheck. That isn't needed, right? It's, hey, we need to get this done. We're trying to meet this goal. We're trying to meet this commitment. And people generally want to help people. I believe that wholeheartedly. And as you build each other up from the bottom, the core foundation, it seems that it trickles over. And as you build them up and they overflow, then it'll go to the next person and to the next person and the next person. If everybody would treat each other as, love thy neighbor as thyself. If everybody just did that simple rule, think about where the world would be. I mean, there's enough to go around. I always say the law of abundance. The universe has so much to give. The universe has all of the information out there. It's been there for a long time. And you know what? Over time, I think it gets repackaged by different versions of people and then put back out there because somebody else gravitates or hears something from that person. And again, I'm not for everybody. I tell people that all the time. But the people that I have been able to help and buy in to the systems and the strategies and the things that I try to teach them and employ in them. And, that simple thing is dreams only work if you do. That's so simple. They have to take action. And people sit there and say, I'm paralyzed in fear because of the fear of the unknown. But you're not going to get further ahead anywhere. You're just going to sit there and go through the motions. And you know what? Some people settle, and that's okay. What I mean by that is I know people that go to work at 9, clock out at 5, They've got their money for their 401k. I know that they're paying money on their house. They've got money for their kids' retirement. They've managed things really well, but they really don't want to do any more. And that's okay. And I know that I can't push them past their comfort zone, and they've settled, but that's them. But I want to help people and inspire people that want to do better, be more for their family, for themselves, for the people that they associate with. Sell the vision. And there is no crazy idea. You know, there's crazy ideas all the time, right? But get the buy-in. You guys can achieve great things. You can do great things. And there's people that will rally behind you and for you and with you. All of those things that want to be a champion for you. You know, we love sports, right, in this country. And we rally around our teams. And we want them to be successful. We want them to win those championships. There's people that want to be a champion for you. You just have to allow it. As always, share, like, and subscribe.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ty Brady Way. As always, share, like, and subscribe. Go to Instagram at ty.r.brady. And as always, love hearing from you. And let me know what you want to learn on the show or what you'd like me to bring up on the show. Thanks.
You can find the Ty Brady Way on Instagram as well as Facebook. To stay connected with giveaways and Ty himself, go ahead and follow at ty.r.brady on Instagram as well as Facebook. This podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Whitney Face Media Marketing. And the theme music is an excerpt from Hot Chicken of the Woods by Isaac Joel.